So, you're a new DM and you've decided to write your first D&D campaign. It's very scary. Trust me, I know that feeling. In fact, every time I start writing a new campaign, I get a little bit scared. At the end of the day, being scared probably is a good thing. It means that you're excited and you want the game to be good. It just means that you care. But to help you out, I thought I'd let you know 5 things which I wish I'd known before I wrote my first D&D homebrew campaign. Number 5, start on Tatooine. Now, if you know Star Wars, you know what I mean. Start your campaign small. Rather than starting your campaign with a broad overview of every single thing that's happened in the world, where a narrator tells you about all of the backstory and where the big bad guy is, it's probably best to start your campaign on a farm, on a small backwater in a place that means nothing. I start a lot of my campaigns literally in a dungeon cell. The party wakes up from being knocked unconscious. They can't remember how they got there, and the first thing that they have to do is get out of the dungeon. Some of my favorite game designers and players over at the Shut Up and Sit Down YouTube channel talk about how games should be pear-shaped. At the beginning, you shouldn't really have that many choices, and as you play the game, the amount of choices in the world get more and more and more and broader. So when you start off your campaign, limit the amount of choices. I know it might be tempting to start your campaign in a town. You can do this, but be warned. Every single one of your players is excited to roleplay their new character. So right off the bat, the cleric is going to go looking for the temple. The drunk is going to go looking for something to drink. The rogue is going to go looking for something to steal. And you're going to split and scatter your party from the very first 30 minutes of the game. Instead, give them basically almost no choices as to what to do. They're on a sinking ship and have to survive. They're in a prison cell. They're being ambushed by goblins. Give them a nice, small problem to solve at the beginning, and it will help to unify the party. Suggestion 4, write the ring, not Rivendell. This is obviously a Lord of the Rings reference, and I think it's important to remember that even though the world of Tolkien is vast and immersive, and most fantasy worlds are, where Lord of the Rings starts is with the ring. It starts with the plot and not the world. Frodo doesn't even know anything about Rivendell or the elves, which is exciting. It gives him an opportunity to find out about those things. If Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, were a role-playing game, it probably wouldn't be 10 or maybe 12 sessions until Frodo is encountering things like Rivendell and the elves, or even meeting orcs for the very first time in the Mines of Moria. One of the mistakes I see a lot of new DMs making is writing extremely expansive worlds for their campaigns, with long timelines, deities, cultures, history. These things might be exciting to you, but the players don't have a reason to care about them yet. They're not going to ask you questions about them, and if you sit there monologuing for an hour about all these things, they're not going to care why or retain that information. It's much better to start your campaign with plot. Give them something that they need to do, a magic item that they need to destroy, a creature that they need to hunt down and kill, a person which they need to escort from one town to another. Now they have a challenge which they can do, and the challenge will reveal the world. As they go on their quest, they're going to encounter new areas where you can fill in juicy bits of backstory, and they can meet fun non-player characters to tell them the history. Do not start with a history dump, and honestly, save yourself some time. You can figure out a lot of the history and the backstory of the game as you go through each of the sessions. You don't need to know it all up front. The most important thing you need to know for session 1, and even for the first 5 sessions, is what is the plot? What is the problem that the party is going to try to solve in the first 5 sessions of my campaign? My third piece of advice I'm calling Duck, Duck, Panther. Basically, what I mean by this is most of the time, the standard things in your Dungeon Master's Guide or even in the Player's Handbook are going to work great. Short swords are fun. Arrows work great. Classic potions of invisibility, health potions, scrolls that have a single casting of fireball on them. For the most part, standard magic items, standard monsters, and standard spells are going to be very exciting, especially if you're a new DM and you're playing with new players. These are all brand new exciting things to them, and you'll find that most of the interest of a D&D game actually comes from the uniqueness of the players and less so from the uniqueness of the challenges that they're trying to solve. One of the reasons I call it Duck Duck Panther is it's also a great way to subvert your players' expectations. If they're used to fighting goblins and orcs, then all of a sudden when they go into a haunted house, reach inside a wardrobe, and the wardrobe grows arms and legs and starts attacking them, it will be especially exciting. Save your special homebrew creations and other fun ideas you have and sprinkle them in maybe once a session or once every other session. They will hit with more impact, and also you'll have to prepare less. There's no shame in having a standard encounter with a troll, an owlbear, a dragon. These are some of the best encounters I've ever had in my entire lifetime of playing Dungeons & Dragons. So don't be afraid to use standard monsters from the monster manual. It's also going to save you a lot of time. Number 2, play Mad Libs with your players. You know those little fun activity books you got where you basically had to fill in the words? What I mean by this is most of the time, especially in the first 5 to 10 sessions of my D&D campaigns, I like to give my players items which are kind of blank slates. When they defeat a goblin and they look through his pouch, they might find a polished rainbow stone. You can't attune to it and it's not a magic item. They have no idea what it is. Now, a player might pick this up and throw it over their shoulder and not care about it. That's fine. They can move on to the next thing. But another player might hold it and find it deeply mysterious and want to study it and start to ask everyone in town what it's about. If a player starts to do this, it is your job to make that item important. I've seen way too many new DMs come up with the perfect clue, a small item that's hidden in someone's pouch that is the key to the entire story, and then the players move right on by and never find it. Rather than being disappointed by that, feel free to sprinkle a bunch of things in front of your players and wait for them to latch on to something. If they latch on to the creepy voodoo doll, which you did not think was an important plot point, make it an important plot point later on. You can totally do that. What's especially exciting about this is when you do that, the players will think that you're a genius. They'll think that you've set up something 20 sessions beforehand, when in reality, you've just been listening well to the players. When I write a campaign, I generally tend to have a rough idea of where the campaign is going from beginning to end, but I don't fill in the details yet. I wait to see how the first 5 to 10 sessions go. I listen carefully, and then I fill in the rest of the campaign with the things the players are excited about from sessions 1 through 10. My last piece of advice is to tell your story. I've seen way too many new DMs get too caught up in what do my players want? What's going to be exciting for my players? Now, this one's going to be a little controversial. Yes, of course, the game is about creating a good experience for your players. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you need to care about your story. Otherwise, you're not going to be motivated to actually put the time into it that's going to be required every single week for you to be prepared for your D&D session or however frequently you play. Tell a story that you cannot stop thinking about, that you obsess about, that you constantly are writing more notes about. That is the correct story to play. And trust your instincts that a story that you find exciting will probably be exciting to your friends and your party as well. Well, I hope that these 5 pieces of advice were helpful. They certainly are things that I think about every single time I write a new D&D campaign. I've started dozens of new campaigns. Every time I do, I'm filled with this excitement. It's always a little bit scary. Don't be scared. Dive in. Write your own first D&D campaign. And most importantly, play it. Play it with friends and give it a try. Even if it's a train wreck after the very first session, you will still learn loads, and I almost guarantee that you'll have fun. If you want more tools to help you run your Dungeons & Dragons campaign, you should try out WorldSmith. It is a very cool online platform that is full of amazing tools for DMs. It can help you to create custom content very quickly, organize your content, and basically just make a better, more fun, and original game for your players. I've been using WorldSmith for the last 2 to 3 years in my Dungeons & Dragons games, and I can guarantee you the quality has gone way up. You can start a free trial for 7 days, absolutely no cost. Give it a try and see for yourself.